solve this for all real values of x. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the left side here, and I'm going to try to write the left side using a base of 3. So let us rewrite this. 3 raised to the x plus 9 raised to the x. But 9 can be represented as 3 squared, so that's my 9, and I'm going to raise this to x, and this is equal to 30. What I really have is 3 raised to the x plus 3 raised to the 2x. Remember that whenever a power is raised to a power, for example, whenever the power of 2 here is raised to a power again, then we can multiply the power. So this is actually equal to 30. Now, let's take a look. If I have 3 raised to the 2x, I'm able to take this and rewrite it as 3 raised to the x2 because multiplication is commutative. So 2x is the same as x2. I'm doing that because I want to approach my question like this. Take a look. 3 raised to the x plus 3 raised to the x and square it. This is equal to 30. So that's what we really have there. Now, because I'm seeing a common 3 to the x and then a square, then it's giving me the quadratic field. So I'm going to gather all the terms on one side and let it equal to 0. For example, I'm going to subtract 30 from the left side, which means I'm going to have to subtract 30 from the right. So I'm subtracting 30 from the left and the right side. Let's rewrite this. I'm going to put the square part first. So 3 raised to the x, and this is squared, plus 3 raised to the x minus 30. This is equal to 0. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let p equal to 3 raised to the x. So I'm going to now substitute p wherever I see 3 raised to the x. So right here, I'm going to actually have p squared plus p minus 30, and this is equal to 0. The next step is that I want to solve for p. Because I'm seeing a quadratic here, I'm going to try to factorize, right? So let's take a look. So if I'm factorizing this, my a value is 1, my b value is 1, and my c value is negative 30. My a value, a is the coefficient of the square, and so that's how we get the 1 here. And b is the coefficient of the p, which is 1, and c is the constant term. So what is AC? AC is 1 times negative 30, and that's going to give me negative 30. What are the two numbers that I need? I need two numbers, all right? So that when I multiply them, it's going to give me negative 30, but when I add them, it's going to give me 1. Those are factors of 30. I'm thinking of 6 and 5. So it's 6 and 5, right? But remember, because I need negative 30 and my b value is positive, I'm going to have to let the 6 be positive and the 5 be negative, so that when I actually multiply them, I do get negative 30, but when I add them, I get a positive 1. So I'm going to be using 6 and negative 5, all right? So let us put that in. Now let us rewrite this. So what I do have here is I have p squared. Now I'm going to have positive 6p minus 5p minus 30, and this is equal to 0. So if you take a quick look, this is my p. 6p minus 5p is actually p right there. Now, because I actually have 4 terms, I'm going to employ factorizing by grouping. So this is like my group 1, and this is like my group 2. In my first group, the common factor is p. So let us take our p out, open our bracket, and we're going to divide the terms in group 1 by p. P squared divided by p is p. 6p divided by p is 6. I'm going to use negative 5 to factor group 2. So I'm going to divide throughout by negative 5 throughout my second pair of ideas. So when negative 5 goes into negative 5p, I'm going to get p. When negative 5 goes into negative 30, I'm going to get positive 60. And everything is still equal to 0. Because I do have the common factor, which is p plus 6, I'm going to take out my p plus 6 and open another bracket. The p, which is this, and the negative 5, they're going to come in the other bracket right there. So there it is. I just factorized that, and it is equal to 0. As soon as I factorize, right, two things are multiplying, and the result is a 0. It means that I'm going to apply the zero product rule, and it suggests that either p plus 6 is a 0, which means if I subtract 6 from both sides, then p is equal to negative 6. Also, p minus 5 is equal to 0. And if I add 5 to both sides as I try to solve, then p is equal to 5. Remember, though, that there was not a p in the original thing that we started off with. So I'm going to ask us to recall that, hey, remember that p is equal to 3 raised to the x. So what it means then, I could say, okay, p is equal to 3 raised to the x, right? Therefore, we can now say that if p is equal to negative 6, then I can say 3 raised to the x is equal to negative 6 because p is 3 raised to the x. When we take a look at this response, though, there is no real number that if I raise 3 to that number x, right, it's going to give a negative response. So this negative response here will not be valid for what we're about to do. Let's focus on the other part. P is also equal to 5. Recall that 3 to the x is equal to p. So 3 raised to the x is equal to 5. Now, I cannot represent 5 using a base of 3. So I'm going to have to take the log of both sides. So I'm going to log 3 raised to the x, and I'm going to log 5. At this stage, one of the logarithm rules suggests that if I have an exponent here of the argument of the log, it could come as a coefficient of the log. So x log of 3 is now equal to log 5. In an effort to find x, I'll divide both sides by log 3. So what we really have, log 3. So what we really have here is that x is equal to log 5 divided by the log of 3. All right, which is actually equal to, when you put this on your calculator, we're going to get x is 1.4647. All right, so we'll work with that. Now, thank you for watching DellyMaths Concepts, and see you next time. Well.